Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chris's Classic Cinema. That's Chris Wired, and I'm Jayden Sparks.
Sorry, I had a little brain fart. So now that we're into season 3, who knows what we're going to be looking at? Now that we're in episode 2, we're going to be looking at movies that are from one of the greatest directors of our time, and he has been doing movies for over half a century. And I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about, especially if you see this shirt. I am talking about the one and only Steven Spielberg. Now, this guy has had a career as far back as the 60s when he was doing short films. Come the 70s, one of his first major successes was doing an episode of Columbo.
Yeah, and but his breakout film in terms of being a film producer and director was a movie that we've already reviewed, and that was, of course, Jaws.
Yes.
Which we did all the way back in season 1.
Our very first episode.
And we've been wanting to revisit Spielberg ever since.
And he's the one that basically set the that started the era of blockbusters.
And in my opinion in my professional opinion, is the best director of all time. Dare I say, he is my favorite director.
That I agree with. I mean, even to this day, he is still producing and directing movies. Later this year, he's going to have a science fiction movie coming out called Disclosure Day. Mm-hmm. And recently, he produced the Chloe Zhao's Shakespeare drama Hamlet. Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure he's going to get an Oscar nomination for that tomorrow.
If he doesn't get this tomorrow, just put a giant "I was wrong" right across the center of the screen right now, just to make me feel better.
Yeah, he'll get a nomination, but I honestly doubt he'll win.
We'll see.
But if anything, yeah, some of his modern movies I've really enjoyed, like The Adventures of Tintin, War Horse, his version of West Side Story.
I mean, I was impartial and always will forever love Ready Player One. That's the
Yes.
first 4K movie I bought.
I was blown away when I saw Ready Player One in theaters.
Oh, it was so good. I have it on 4K Blu-ray at home.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be looking at some of his classics, and spoiler alert, we're not doing Indiana Jones.
No.
Because that's basically a whole nother ballpark.
It really is.
But when it comes to we're going to be looking at some of his finest science fiction films, as well as a movie that he produced that's one of the most popular films of the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Well, to be fair, two of these 4 movies were extremely popular in the 80s.
And 2 of these ended up actually beating the record for being the highest grossing film ever.
Mm-hmm.
When they were first released.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to Steven Spielberg, of course, he has his lifelong collaboration with the legendary composer John Williams. Mm-hmm. And almost every movie he's done has his music in it. And with some minor exceptions, like one of them would be a movie that we're going to be reviewing in our next episode. I'm not giving spoilers.
Well, with that being said, Chris, what's the first movie we'll be reviewing?
Okay. Well, for this first film, we're going back to 1977 when he was still at his peak. And
he's still at his peak. He never lost peak.
Yeah, I guess that's true. This was when he basically became the director to go to for amazing movies. And this was the same year as Star Wars, and it basically rivaled it in terms of visual effects, music, the science fiction genre in general.
Although over time it would lose its luster and fandom to the Star Wars franchise. Very, very unfortunate, because it is a pretty solid movie for all accounts.
Yes, and if you're wondering what movie I'm talking about, well, you better get out your mashed potatoes and start building your own Devil's Tower. If you know what I'm talking about. The movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. 2 Midwesterns find themselves having a close encounter with UFOs. One of them even ending up abandoning his family to figure out what's going on, while a single mother is trying to rescue her son, who is apparently abducted by the UFOs. Mm-hmm. Next you know, they find themselves at Devil's Tower in Wyoming, where they experience contact with a life form beyond their wildest imaginations. Now, this film is incredible for that time.
Yeah, and I gotta say, for somebody that talked a big game about Steven Spielberg, I'm ashamed to say this. This was the first time I'd ever seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I saw it for the first time a few years ago on TV, and I was blown away by it.
It holds up well. Now, to be fair, the pacing of it is a little weird.
Yeah, the first half is kind of slow, but come the last half, it really gets you like, oh my god, this is breathtaking.
And the thing is, like, well, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like it was slow at all, in my opinion. It did have a great build-up to it. There was a great build-up to the
especially when you see like the psychological effects it has on the two people who had this encounter, and next you know they are obsessed with making pictures and sculptures of a certain image that's basically implanted in their mind, and they can't get it out.
Well, and you also follow along with some scientists throughout the movie. One that speaks French, and then of course you got a map maker who turns out to just be a rough translator. And and that was kind of my favorite. One of my favorite parts of the movie was very early on when during the first phenomenon when you see these World War II fighter planes completely unscathed and untouched.
Next, you find a completely abandoned ship right in the middle of a desert in Mongolia.
Mm-hmm. Which is when we get introduced to the 5 legendary notes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Courtesy, yep, John Williams' famous 5 tones. And if you've seen the movie, I'm pretty sure they're implanted in your head, just like us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's as iconic as like the 2 notes of Jaws.
And that means that for the previous, because Jaws was the immediately predecessor to
Close Encounters.
Close Encounters. So the 2 movies basically were done on top of each other. In fact, during the pre-production for Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the script writing was done before Jaws, and was being worked on, and then Spielberg went to do Jaws, and decided, no, I really want to do a sci-fi, and then he did Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
Which means, for his 2 blockbuster hits in a row, he's averaging about 2.5 to 3 notes.
Yeah.
He's averaging about 3.5 notes between the 2 movies of legendariness.
Yeah, and when it comes to John Williams' music, it is just gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and this was the same, when it came to 1977, I mean, this was the same year he did the first Star Wars movie. And he ended up getting Oscar nominations for both Close Encounters and Star Wars. He basically lost to himself for Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, what a way to go.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the cast. Now, you have the guy himself, played by Richard Dreyfuss, fresh off of his success in Jaws. And he's basically this electrician who, he has this close encounter, and suddenly it's starting to psychologically affect him, and it's basically tearing his family apart.
Mm-hmm.
He's tearing himself away from his family. His wife and kids are completely think that he's just going nuts.
And and it's honestly a bit of a valid crash out throughout the movie, because at first his wife is more than supportive, more than I would even give him credit for.
His wife, played by the late Terry Garr.
And you could see that, she's just desperate to have her husband lock in and, get another job and, get some help. But he just is like, no, I got this. I just need to do this one more thing. And then it ended up just tearing the whole family apart. And
next thing you know, he's completely, they think he's completely lost it, and they practically ditch him.
Yeah, PJs and all. They literally just get in the car and they start driving.
And we never see them again.
Yeah.
And then you have the second person to witness the UFOs, Melinda Dillon. And if she's familiar, she was the mom in the classic holiday movie A Christmas Story. Mm-hmm. Now, she has with her a 3-year-old son, played by a young Carrie, who is named Barry, and he's basically the innocent soul who is curious about these creatures that are coming out of the blue.
Yeah,
and she is terrified of the idea of him being taken away. And when he does end up being taken away, she is going the distance to get her son back.
Yeah.
And you can just feel the fear in her, as well as the because you know that she has experienced something beyond her imagination.
Well, you almost feel it too. It's not just her acting that plays the role. The special effects when the aliens were invading her house. Oh my God!
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff turning on and off. There's stuff flying all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's
amazing what you could do with a little bit of puppetry and some nylon string.
Yeah, I mean, look at when Richard Dreyfuss first meets the UFO. I mean, you have those mailboxes shaking like crazy, and I gotta admit, I did love the part where you actually see like the UFO's lights behind the truck, and he thinks it's just another truck, but next you know.
Oh, we all did.
And then it goes
up, and we're like, huh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that happened. I was like, huh, well, how about that?
Yeah. And when it comes to other cast members, then too, I mean, you have the guy who wants to communicate with them, the French, who was played by the famous French director Francois Truffaut, and he was a big name for the French cinema at that time. He was actually one of the creators of the French New Wave of the night.
Okay.
Yeah, in the late 50s, he directed what's considered one of the greatest films in French cinema, the coming-of-age story, The 400 Blows. And just a few years before this movie, he received a Best Director nomination for a film that won an Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film, Day for Night.
Mm-hmm.
So he was very well known in Europe at that time.
That must have been a pretty big shock to the cinema world to see such an accredited person behind the silver screen.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like a science fiction movie like this.
Yeah. And talk about the spaceship designs. My God. Was it the same person? I think it was the same person that
Douglas Trumbull.
Was it Douglas Trumbull? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was the guy who did 2001, right?
I believe so.
But still, the UFOs, they are just, my God. They are so otherworldly.
That holds up. That holds up even now. I'd even say that for a sci-fi movie, the spaceship scenes hold up for at least 20 years. Because you look at a movie from the 90s, like Independence Day, and I'm gonna be bold and say it. I'd say that it's on par with Independence Day and some other 90s sci-fis. It held up really well.
That I can agree with, because when it comes to the effects in this movie, they are just incredible. And Steven Spielberg knocked it out of the park with directing this film.
Well, again, you look at the pre-production, like that movie was being worked on and worked on and worked on. It was rewritten like 3 or 4 times. Like in the original screenwriting, it was like the original protagonist was supposed to be a cop, but Spielberg rejected the idea because it wasn't relatable at the time.
And when it comes to the production too, I mean, the sets are amazing, and the cinematography is just gorgeous.
It really is. Now there are some parts of the cinematography that are a bit dated, like that one cliff scene where one of the cop cars crashes off. That I felt like looked a little dated, at least to my eyes, very much.
Yeah, but when it comes to this film, when it comes to the filming locations, they are amazing. I mean, the last quarter of the movie takes place at Devil's Tower National Monument in Wyoming, and this movie basically made tourism of that place skyrocket.
I'm sure. And there isn't much really going on in Wyoming to begin with. It's got lots of really nice nature reserves, so Lord knows they needed it.
Yeah, and when it comes to Devil's Tower, I mean, it is when it comes to like the monument itself, it does give you that otherworldly feeling of how it looks. Because you think that it was like, I mean, think about it. It's this huge rock that looks like it was with the legends of it being scratched by a giant bear, but it looks so otherworldly.
And that's no mistake. Like, that's not the only place where they. I mean, when you think about all the other sci-fi movies and TV shows in the last 20 years, most of them were filmed out in the desert. So it's actually kind of refreshing to see it done with foliage.
That is true. I mean, think about the Star Wars movies. A lot of them story takes place on desert planets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, and Star Wars was its main competitor that year since it was the Close Encounters since it was 77. Yeah. But yeah. And by the way, when it comes to Devil's Tower, I know that there's a campsite right by the monument that actually does like nightly showings of this movie, just because of how popular it is. I mean, when it comes to like Devil's Tower, you can't think about it without instantly thinking of Close Encounters. It's basically like thinking of the Empire State Building without thinking of King Kong.
Yeah, or for that matter, New York City.
Plus when it comes to like mashed potatoes, I mean, you can't think about mashed potatoes like wanting to make a mountain out of it.
I don't know, every mashed potato I've ever had is not that sticky or tacky.
Yeah.
It would just be a pile of mush.
Now, I also noticed that there was some note, when it comes to the music too, John Williams actually used references from the song from Disney's Pinocchio, When You Wish Upon a Star.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was really a really interesting choice. I mean,
you'd have to have a very good ear to hear the parallel in those two movies. You really do, because I didn't even catch it.
But man, this movie is so good. I mean, it ended up being the third highest-grossing film of 1977, right behind Smokey and the Bandit and Star Wars.
Yep, you can even say it was in third place.
No comment.
Well, it was Close Encounters of the Third Kind, so everything happens in threes.
Yeah, well, if anything, when it came to the Oscars, I mean, it got a lot of nominations. I mean, it was nominated for Best... Steven Spielberg got a nomination for Best Director. Melinda Dillon was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, a rare occasion for science fiction films. But it lost many of its awards to Star Wars, like Original Score, Art Direction, Visual Effects, Film Editing, Sound. But it ended up winning 2. Best Cinematography, and it also received a Special Achievement Oscar for Sound Editing.
Understandable.
And when it comes to the sound too, I mean,
oh my god,
that last quarter of the movie, the sound is just phenomenal.
Well, you even think about not even the last quarter, but all of it. I'd even argue if that movie had the surround sound treatment, it would hold up to today's standards.
Yeah, I mean that conversation scene between the guy on the keyboard and the mothership, that's just incredible.
Mm-hmm. That holds up today.
Yeah, I mean, and you can clearly tell the instruments they're using. The keyboard is like a flute, and the mothership is like a bassoon.
Well, the keyboard's like it's a Yamaha series. It's not a DX. It's too old. The movie's too old for DX. I can send you the exact synthesizer that was used in the movie. It's the same one that was used in Blade Runner.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or same family.
Yeah.
It's the same family synthesizer that Blade Runner used.
And when it comes to John Williams, he may have lost the Oscar to himself for Star Wars, but when it came to the score for Close Encounters, he actually did receive, like, I think it was 2 or 3, at least 2 Grammys for the music.
Mm-hmm.
Because and not only did the American Film Institute put this, the American Film Institute actually named this, like, put it in their tier list, like, top 100 most thrilling films and top 100 most inspiring films. Because when it comes to the last third, I mean, when you actually see the extraterrestrials, it gives you that sense of, we are not alone. And it definitely gives you that sense of, okay, what if this is actually true?
Well, I mean, points deducted where they use the stereotypical little green men, and also that they use 2 different alien variations. Like, they used a long, tall, lanky one, and then they had little green men. Well, why?
I think the tall, lanky one is supposed to be their leader.
Right, but it still kind of was like... I didn't think... It felt unnecessary to me to have that at all.
Yeah, well, it's better... Well, if anything, I know that there were different versions of this movie that were released as well. The director's cut actually gets you inside the mothership.
Oh, gee, okay. I need to see that version. I only saw the theatrical release.
Yeah. If you, well, actually, wait. That's the special edition that was released like right after the movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
There's like so many different versions, and I honestly lost track of which one is which.
Go for the long one. Okay. What are you gonna score this at?
I'm giving this 4 out of 5 stars.
I'm giving it 3.5 for the same reasons I just highlighted. There are some scenes that are a little dated, but there are some and the two different types of aliens. With the version I saw, at least, was I felt a bit unnecessary. But the sound and special effects hold up very, very well, and I think that really, if you're a Spielberg fan or a sci-fi fan, you gotta see it.
At least once. I mean, this is on par with some of the other iconic science fiction films.
This is going to be one of my lower scores for Spielberg.
Yeah, but still, yeah. And like I said, this was released the same year as Star Wars, so next year it's going to be 50 years old. Who knows what they're going to do? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they do like something special based on the movie at the Devil's Tower.
Maybe a Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that was Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Now we're going to head to 1982 with what is perhaps one of his most iconic movies. And I know that you are not a really big fan of it due to other reasons, but I personally think it is one of his most emotional movies. And it happens to be a science fiction movie as well. And I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about, because it's one of the most iconic films of the 1980s. E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
It's the one with the finger.
Yeah. Get that away from me. Don't finger me, Freddy.
Okay, moving on. Okay.
In a California suburb, a boy ends up befriending an extraterrestrial who is left behind when his people fly in their rocket ship without him. Now, eventually his brother and sister find him as well, and unfortunately he wants to government agents are after him, but the thing is, the alien wants to contact his people so he can go back home. Now, this movie was a juggernaut when it first came out, and it was right off the heels of Star Wars.
M&M's Eat Your Heart Out.
With Reese's Pieces, this was basically their advertising gold.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of really fun little factoids and facts about the movie. But let's talk about the full cast first and foremost.
Yeah.
Like we normally
I mean, when it comes to the cast, I mean, you have some of the most talented kids ever in a movie. I mean, I swear, some of their performances were Oscar-worthy, but surprisingly, none of them got nominations. I mean, when it came to Henry Thomas as Elliot, I mean, even in his audition, he actually ended up in tears. His first audition ever, and Spielberg casted him right on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
And he just knocks it out of the park. He's this believable kid. I mean, you have this kid who doesn't have many friends. And next thing you know, he finds himself befriending someone literally out of this world. And he wants to help him call back his people so he can go home. Mm-hmm. Along with that, you have his brother and his sister, played by a very young Drew Barrymore. And when it comes to just the kids, they are just incredible.
Very relatable too.
Yeah.
Like most kids will relate to, faking being sick. Most kids will relate to having a bunch of candy stashed away.
A lot of kids relate to the idea of having to dissect frogs and wanting to set them free.
Yeah. It's just like, they're extremely relatable, and that's what makes the movie a bit of a joy to watch, really.
And then you have the adults. You have Dew Wallace as the mother. recently she's dealing with the loss of her husband, and she's a single mother trying to raise 3 kids. And when she finds out about the extraterrestrials, she's just terrified.
Understandable. It's an understandable crash
And next
out.
thing you know, the government agents are coming in. They
With
want
phones.
Yes, and they want to basically analyze the creature,
Mm-hmm.
with the main leader played by Peter Coyote.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of me that wants to see him as an antagonist, but
Oh, I do. Go ahead.
well, there's also a part of me that wants to believe that he understands. I mean, when he's talking to Elliot when in the quarantine section, he's been wanting to meet an extraterrestrial since he was a kid, and now he has this living being right in front of him, but the thing is, you don't know what he wants to do next with it.
No.
I mean, does he want to help
Dissect
it, or does he want to help him, or just basically rip him apart to find out, to analyze him?
We never find out.
Yeah. But still, the cast is just phenomenal.
It is.
It's one of the best casts ever in a Spielberg movie.
And, you know, there's a lot of, like, little factoids about the movie as well.
And as well as a lot of references too. I mean, you have Elliot showing E.T. Let's talk about the alien itself, because the design is phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I mean, and when it came to it's basically a mix of puppetry and full costumes. And I found out, and it's so believable. I mean,
Well, that, and you gotta...
it gives the characters more emotion when they're actually talking to something right in front of them.
Well, not only that, but you also think about how throughout the movie, how often they had to either swap out the puppet or swap out the costume, because they had the show throughout the movie, getting sicker and paler.
Yeah, and also when it came to, like, it has powers beyond our control. Like, it can heal wounds with just a single touch. It can make the famous bicycles fly into the sky. Not again. Are you going to be doing this whole episode?
It's the E.T. finger. Wait, it's the finger. You can't not do the finger.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be on a bike flying past the moon. That's one of the most iconic shots in the history of cinema.
Okay, but which one can you recreate more realistically? The finger or flying on a bike over the moon? I rest my case.
Now, when it comes... Yeah, I mean, this has some of those iconic scenes you can think of. I mean, you have Elliot showing E.T. Star Wars action figures.
Yeah.
And next you know, he's learning... You actually see E.T. watching TV.
Mm-hmm.
And next you know, he's watching John Wayne's The Quiet Man, with the famous kiss with Maureen O'Hara.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, there's so many pop culture references. I mean, you have Drew Barrymore watching Sesame Street on TV.
Yeah.
And there's also, but when it comes to it's, and the film actually just happens to take place around Halloween. So there's this whole scene of them going out trick-or-treating.
And, you know, and let's talk about product placements. Like, granted, Close Encounters and other Spielberg movies had some pretty stellar product placements, but with E.T., it really took it to the next level.
I mean, you had the whole thing with Reese's Pieces. It basically skyrocketed their popularity.
And to be fair, Spielberg did ask M&M and Hershey's, hey, can we have the M&Ms? And they said, no. Their loss.
Yeah. And next you know, there's I mean, heck, when they're out trick-or-treating, you see a kid in a Yoda costume, and just next you know, you hear his theme from The Empire Strikes Back.
Because remember, this is 82, the second Star Wars movie is out.
And Steven Spielberg and George Lucas are still very good friends.
Mm-hmm. So it's really interesting to see, you know, this is kind of where we start really seeing, like, clever product placements in film. This is something that Chris and I both learned about when we were in college, is clever product placements. now there are some movies that go over the top, but Spielberg was always in that sweet spot with doing perfect product placements, especially with the Reese's Pieces.
I mean, look at like all the references he did in like Ready Player One from a few years ago.
Exactly. So it's a. However, if we want to talk about product placements, we also have to talk about the merchandising.
Well, oh yeah, because this became a juggernaut in merchandising.
It really did, because Star Wars and Star Trek were like the first sci-fi films to start doing that. Close Encounters didn't really get that, but with E.T., whole nother level. A whole nother level.
Yeah, and even to this day,
you could still find product.
Yeah.
Of course.
Now let's talk about the production of this movie.
Oh yeah.
Because you have some gorgeous shots of a California suburb.
Oh yeah, that's really good shots.
And I also love how they do low angles with the kids to get you more, because, well, for one thing, it would be weird just looking down on them the whole time. You want to be more at their eye level,
well,
and it makes it more effective.
It not only that, but it made the adults scarier because they always shot up or at like torso level.
Yeah.
And like with the sunset scene when they're walking over the street in the hazmat suits, it made the adults look way more scarier.
Yeah. But if anything, the big star in this movie is John Williams' iconic music.
Oh yeah.
It is by far one of the most perfect film scores ever composed for a movie.
I mean, it's John. It's Williams. When have we not said that about him?
Yeah.
When have we not said that?
And this is one of his most emotional too. I mean, when it comes to like the last 15 minutes of the movie, it's a whole score non-stop for the last 15 minutes. Spielberg actually had to edit the movie to match the music, and it just makes it so effective that it basically tugs at your heartstrings.
It does. It gives you hope.
Yeah, and it's just, and of course there's the famous flying theme. I mean, you can't think about this movie without instantly thinking of the bike flying past the moon.
I mean, for our longest time, that was even a logo for the production company.
Well, it still is to this day. Spielberg's production company, Amblin Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like one of the most iconic images in the history of film.
Mm-hmm.
It says, I mean, it's just it's like that pure. When it comes to E.T., it may be a science fiction, but it has that sense of fantasy as well.
Oh yeah.
And it was because of that this film became a juggernaut. I mean, it ended up not only becoming the highest grossing film of 1982, but it ended up beating Star Wars for the then record of the highest grossing film ever. And it held that record for over 10 years. And next, and by the time videotapes came out, its popularity grew even more. But but when it came to the Oscars, it was a success as well. I mean, it ended up winning 4 Oscars, including Best Sound, Best Original Score, and Best Visual Effects. Now, when it comes to visual effects, I mean, they are good, but now that I look at them, now that I've looked at other films from 82, like say Blade Runner, I think Blade Runner should have won it because the effects in that movie were mind-blowing for that time.
Well, the reason that E.T. one was probably more so a popularity contest more than anything.
Yeah. Well, if anything, E.T. was also nominated for Best Picture. Steven Spielberg was nominated for Best Director. It was also nominated for Best Original Screenplay, as well as for cinematography and film editing. But it lost all those movies to an epic biopic of Gandhi, with Steven Spielberg losing to Richard Attenborough. He even said that Spielberg should have won for E.T. He thought that E.T. deserved the Oscar for Best Picture. And even though it didn't win the Oscar, fortunately, E.T. did win the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture in the drama category, as well as for Best Original Score. But when it came to the music, John Williams basically dominated the Grammys when it came to the score for E.T. I mean, it won so many Grammys.
Mm-hmm.
And its legacy still goes on to this day. and the audience reaction, and the audiences fell in love with it so much. Even President Reagan loved it, as it even made Princess Diana cry.
Yeah. Does not surprise me. Now, Chris.
When it comes to this film in general, it is just one of those movies you have to see at least once. I mean, the first time I honestly saw this was in 2002, when they had a special edition of the movie released for its 20th anniversary. And now that I look back, the original version is way better. Because when they came to the special version, they tried to enhance it with CG effects.
There were a lot of issues with it. This is where, our college friends from back in the day are probably going to stop. And you guys can finally stop screaming at the screen. Because now we can start talking about some of the pitfalls with the movie. Because there are some. And that is including the remastered versions. They did doctor the movie. It suffers a lot of the same problems that a lot of 80s movies suffers. Even Star Wars is guilty of this. Where...
Back in the 90s, they tried to upgrade the movies with CG since it was
all the rage at the time. And so much so that they changed some pretty pivotal points of the film. Like, for one point, I referred to...
Right in the climax, you have this government agent with a shotgun ready to take down E.T. Next you know, they replace it with a walkie-talkie.
And that's not even the only scene like that. Like, also, I talked about the sunset scene with the two guys in the hazmat suit cresting the hill. They were also supposed to hold guns originally, but they switched out to walkie-talkies.
I guess they wanted to make it more politically correct.
They wanted to make it more child-friendly. Keep it at rated E for everyone.
Well, PG. I mean, this does have some cussing in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it does add some deleted scenes as well that, now that I think about it, weren't really that necessary.
Yeah, so the film itself, while if you kept it in its original state, is a good film, the remasters are noticeably worse. And that's not even scratching the surface of its worst.
Yeah, because when it comes to her, if there's one thing that she completely hates about this movie, it's the video game.
It's the video game.
Now,
destroyed a franchise, destroyed an entire industry.
Yes, well, you see, back in the early 80s, Atari released a game version of E.T. for the Atari 2600, and it basically atom bombed.
Yeah, it was the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. Now, granted, the video game market at the time in '83 was already shifting towards a downward free fall. E.T. was basically this game that was continually hyped up, along with Pac-Man. They were both hyped up for this game system. And when
Pac-Man was already popular in the arcades, but when it came to the Atari 2600 version...
Both versions were horrible.
And they are still considered even to this day, they are considered perhaps some of the worst games ever in the history of video games.
Now, granted, the real reason why the video game market crashed was not because of E.T. In fact, people will often quote how it crashed and they took all the copies of E.T. and they buried him out in the desert.
Which is true, because there was
It's only half-truth. The truth of the matter is, yes, Atari did have a lot of stock of video games that weren't moving, but it wasn't just E.T. They actually did do an excavation of the site where they dumped the cartridges, and it wasn't just E.T. It was Pac-Man, Centipede, Defender, all the games from their library at the time.
Over 700,000, if I recall.
And that was kind of the problem back in the day with video games. It was not E.T.'s fault. It was that it was a whole bunch of these really poorly made games that were made on a time crunch. E.T. the video game was only made by one guy in 6 weeks, I think, which is not nearly enough time to create a video game back then, and it's not even enough time now.
Yeah, and all you have is E.T. just stretching his neck, and that's it.
It's eating a dot occasionally. That's supposed to be Reese's Pieces. But
yeah.
But I digress. Like, that aside, the film itself is fine, but the implications surrounding it, with the remastering of it later in the 90s, as well as the video game lore that surrounds it hurts its reputation a lot, at least in my opinion.
Well, it still has a very good reputation with Universal, because at Universal Studios in Orlando, there's this whole attraction based off it called E.T. Adventure that's still there. I mean, it's been there, I think, since like the 90s. I even rode it when I was 7.
I didn't get to ride that one. I saw it, but I didn't get to ride it.
Yeah, well, I remember actually being mesmerized by it when I rode it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I was only 7, and that was back in '99.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and like I said, when it came to the video, when it was released on video, its popularity skyrocketed.
It blew up.
It was like one of the most popular VHSs of the '80s.
Mm-hmm.
And even to this day, it is still considered one of the greatest science fiction films ever. Even the American Film Institute placed it on many of their lists, like top 25 film scores, top 10 most inspiring films, top 10 science fiction films. It was a great big number 3, right behind Star Wars and 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yep.
And along with that, it's still considered one of the most emotional science fiction movies ever, as well as one of the greatest family films in general.
Still not my favorite, but well, I digress.
But still, it's just, when it comes to Steven Spielberg, he did an amazing job in this.
Yes.
Which is why I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
I'm gonna be giving it 3.5 out of 5 myself. I already highlighted why with the video game and the remaster.
That's honestly a lot better than I thought you'd put it.
Yeah, okay. If this makes it in, cool. There's this long-running joke from the University of Whitewater that Chris and I share, where at one time, to get his go, I said, hey, Chris, you know the video game E.T. is better than the movie because at least I can use the video game as a torture device. So he threw his hat at me, and down I went. And that's like the reason why we're still friends to this day. Or I don't think if I had made that joke, we wouldn't have been as close as we are now. And so, like, for us to finally do E.T. in a Spielberg episode was like at least 10 years in the making.
Yeah, it was finally the icing on the cake.
Yeah, it's 10 years coming. I'm sure a lot of our friends back at home, back in Whitewater, from the Whitewater days, are like, they're finally doing an ET episode. So I'll once
Go Warhawks.
Once this goes out, I'll definitely be sending the boys this one.
Yeah, but still, if you haven't seen E.T., you gotta watch it at least once.
That I will concur. It's definitely a good movie for the kids.
Yeah, and I do know when it comes to the film, when it comes to the music too, I mean, I've seen like videos of John Williams doing a full orchestra performance of it at the Hollywood Bowl. And the reactions are just, you can just tell how much people love his music for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that was E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Now for our next film, we're going to head to 1985, I think? Yeah, it was 85. Now this movie wasn't directed by Spielberg. He was just an executive producer for it. But he did come up with the idea for the movie, which ended up turning into a screenplay by Chris Columbus, the guy who would be responsible for directing the first 2 Home Alone movies, Mrs. Doubtfire, as well as the first 2 Harry Potter movies. And when it comes to 80s kids, this was basically one of their go-to films.
80s? What about 90s and aughties kids? I think it's just one of those movies.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically the ultimate pirate adventure for a kid.
Yep.
I am talking about The Goonies, directed by Richard Donner. In the state of Oregon, a bunch of kids are trying to find a hidden treasure to save their neighborhood from being demolished. Unfortunately, while they're looking for the treasure, a family of thieves are trying to catch them as well and gain the money for themselves. Now, when it came to this film, it's basically one of the most iconic films of the 80s. I mean, it has one of the biggest followings as well. I mean, it's up there with like Back to the Future, Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, It's easy to see why. I mean, you got a killer cast, killer soundtrack,
a killer cast of amazing kids. Some of them still acting to this day, over 40 years later.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, plus you have this perfect premise of kids on a pirate treasure hunt. And it ends up, and next you know they end up in this one scenario after another. It's like something out of Dungeons and Dragons.
It really is. It's a really, really, really fun movie.
I will agree, it is fun.
Like, even to this day, it's still a fun movie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Plus you have some of the most iconic characters of the 80s, especially with the kids. I mean, you have some big names too, like Sean Astin, Josh Brolin, Corey Feldman, Ke Huy Quan.
Those names will sound familiar to you for anybody that's watched the movie now. Know the last 40 years.
Yeah.
Because some of these actors are, like I said, they're still going. Like, Lord of the Rings.
I mean, when it comes to the main kid, played by Sean Astin, he's the guy who wants to save his house from being torn down, and he is willing to go on this adventure to find a hidden pirate treasure when he finds a map in his attic.
And not only that, but popularized the idea that having a minor disability like asthma is not going to slow anybody down.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to Sean Astin, I mean, think about how far he's come since then. I mean, he was Sam in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And even to this day, if I recall, I think now he's like a member of the Screen Actors Guild or something.
Yeah, well, a lot of them are. A lot of big-time actors are by default.
Yeah, and then you have Josh Brolin as his brother, who basically tags along with his girlfriend.
No, not until later.
Yeah.
Remember, they tied him up.
Yeah. you have Corey Feldman as his best friend. You have Ke Huy Quan as Data, and he's basically the gadget guy.
He's the brain, he's the gadget guy. Does a lot of crazy, wacky, has a wacky Batman belt.
And now when it comes to Ke Huy Quan, I mean, this was just 1 year after his breakout role in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And even to this day, he's having a huge comeback. I mean, a few years back, he won an Oscar for the 2022 Best Picture, Everything Everywhere All at Once. And just last year, he was a voice in Disney's highest-grossing animated movie, Zootopia 2. So it just shows that he's having a huge comeback.
A lot of them are. Now, granted, there are some dated faces in there, like Cyndi Lauper gets a cameo, but also does the score for the movie.
As well as the songs.
As well as a lot of the songs. And her voice being really loud and really strong and, really iconic as ever.
Yeah. And like I said, this movie wasn't directed by Spielberg. It was directed by Richard Donner, who, if you recall, was famous for directing the first 2 Superman movies.
So there is quite a lot of strong Superman references.
Yeah, especially when it comes to the big guy himself. The iconic guy, Sloth.
Yep.
Yeah, apparently I found out that the actor who played him, not only was he actually from Wisconsin, but he was a Super Bowl champion.
Powered on Babe Ruth.
Yeah, and
powered on Babe Ruth, baby.
Yeah, and unfortunately he died only a few years after the Goonies came out. But it's a shame.
Which is strange because the iconic. You can do the quote because my voice isn't good for it.
I mean, when it comes to that famous line from the Electric Company TV show, "Hey, you guys!" And next you know, he's wearing a Superman T-shirt
and just kicking butt. It's great.
Yeah. Plus, I just love how he forms a sort of brotherhood with the kid Chunk. When it comes to Chunk,
Chunk is great.
Yeah, he's basically the big boy who.
He's the Chunk.
Yeah, there are some stereotypes in this movie, but they're not like super bad.
No.
But still, it's just, I mean, he's the guy who wants to go to the cops to catch the bad guys.
Wants to go home. Wants to go home.
Next you know, he's captured by the bad guys who tie him up with Sloth, and they start to form a bond.
over a Babe Ruth park.
Yeah, and now when it comes to the bad guys, I mean, you have this family who's so dysfunctional, yet they all have the same goal: get the treasure before the kids do.
Mm-hmm.
And they are basically the kind of adults you'd see in a kids movie where you just want to hate them, but you can't.
Nope. And I can never not think of, like, wacky goons. That's the word to describe them. They're just a bunch of wacky goons that eat pizza and just are trying to be evil and devious and all that.
But they can also be pretty clumsy. I mean, that whole scene with them falling on the log that's covered in oil.
Yeah. That's great.
That's hilarious.
That's a great scene.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic scene.
When it comes to the production too, I mean, it just gives you pure adventure.
It really does. It's
you have these bunch of kids stuck in these underground tunnels, and they are going through this basically a labyrinth of obstacles to get to the treasure.
And booby traps, yeah. Not to mention the booby traps.
It's like straight out of Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's that whole scene with you have to play the right organ keys, or you end up falling to your doom.
Yeah.
Or it's just a fun ride. I mean, you literally see them going down literal water slides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's
one of my favorite movies of all time.
I can definitely see why.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah,
I watched it all the time as a kid because everything about it's just really, really good. I will unironically listen to the soundtrack in my car.
Yeah.
That's how much I like this movie.
Yeah. And you gotta admit, the idea of doing it in a town in the state of Oregon.
It's just everything about the movie is really, really, really relatable. You know, because these aren't like picture perfect kids. Oh no, they're just rapscallions. They're absolute rapscallions and causing commotion left and right.
But they're wanting to do something for greater good. In this case, saving their neighborhood,
which they end up doing successfully.
Yes. But when it comes to the whole idea, it's just, I mean, it's one of those movies where you are like, oh my god, this is this is so much fun.
I mean, and it holds up it held up well into the 2000s, in my opinion. You know, the only time it only started really falling apart only because nobody hangs out in an arcade really anymore. No kids, arcades aren't that much of a thing. And of course, like, who owns like a box tube TV and watches Cyndi Lauper? Okay, I do, but who else?
Yeah, yeah, that is true. But still, it's like one of the most iconic '80s movies ever.
It is, and I'm still waiting for Goonies 2 because there was a Goonies 2 for the Nintendo.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, apparently the movie actually did get a Nintendo a video game version for the original Nintendo system. And it ended up getting a sequel, but it didn't get as much love.
Yeah, and so...
But now, apparently, they are planning on doing a real Goonies 2.
Please let it be good. Please let it be good.
Well, I heard that Chris Columbus is going to come back, I think, to write the screenplay.
Well, okay, you got that going for it.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey, Chris Columbus is a great guy.
He is. I'm referring to other 80s reboots.
Well, think about it. They're also doing a Gremlins 3.
We did talk about that.
I mean, what's next? Short Circuit 3?
I mean, AI is a thing now. Tron. You know, Tron got a reboot recently. Anyways.
Yeah, well... Yeah, when it came to the Goonies, it was a hit at the box office, but surprisingly, it didn't get any nominations at any major awards ceremonies.
Which is it's a crime in itself. It really is. It really is a crime in itself. It's such a good movie.
Well, when it first came out,
costume design, the sets were so good.
It wasn't until like the end of the 80s when it really became the cult classic that we know today.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely has a strong cult following.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I'm guilty of this. Now, I am.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what you're gonna rate this.
Oh, 4.5. Easy 4.5. Oh, you thought I was gonna give it a perfect 5?
Yes.
I thought about it. I did. I thought about it. But I don't know why I didn't give it 5. I just thought 4.5 was more appropriate.
Well, I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5. A solid 4 out of 5. I mean,
I'm giving it a 4.5, not a 5 out of 5, because I recognize that it's not the greatest film of all time in my book, and I've certainly gotten older, and I'm certainly looking at it through rose-tinted glasses.
yeah.
So it gets the I'm very heavily biased. I'm going to deduct half a point, so I'm not as heavily biased.
Yeah. Still, it's one of those. It's like one of the greatest kids movies ever. You gotta watch it with your kids.
And you don't even need to watch it when you're a kid. It's a kids movie that anybody can enjoy even now. Like anybody that was a kid in the 80s or 90s can still enjoy it now.
Yeah. And like I said, when it came to the cast too, I mean, they're still going strong.
They're still
this
going
day.
strong. They're still going.
Who knows what's gonna happen next with them? I mean, Lord knows what Goonies 2 is gonna be like.
I've got some ideas.
So that was our take of the Goonies. Now for our last film, we're going to 1993 with, well, I'm just going to say it straight out, Jurassic Park.
Now, granted, we could have gone one of two directions with 1993.
Yes, because 1993 was basically the biggest year for Steven Spielberg. Not only for Jurassic Park, which ended up becoming the biggest film of that time, but also because it was the same year he released perhaps his most personal movie, the World War II drama Schindler's List.
Now, we won't be reviewing, we'll touch on Schindler's List here and there, especially when we talk about the awards, but make no mistake that we're primarily focusing on that. We're primarily focusing on Jurassic Park.
When it comes to Schindler's List, I mean, it's just a heartbreaker.
It really is.
I mean, I saw it in college, and it just really...
And I saw it in high school. It was a film requirement in high school. And believe us, we did contemplate reviewing both movies just to kind of showcase that 93 was such a phenomenally mind-breaking year. Tell you what, I'm going to do you all a solid. There is a fantastic video biopic about Spielberg in 1993 specifically. And I'll go ahead and send it to this guy, and he'll link it in the description below.
Huh. What's it called?
I don't remember offhand, but I know I have it favorited on my YouTube feed, so I will send it your way.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm pretty sure you all know what Jurassic Park's about. On a lone island outside of Costa Rica, a paleontologist and his girlfriend find themselves at this theme park with perfectly cloned dinosaurs brought back to life after millions of years. Unfortunately, anything that can go wrong does go wrong.
It's neglect. It's neglect and negligence. Okay, let's get that out of the way right now.
Now, this movie was based on the book by Michael Crichton, which was a bestseller, and Steven Spielberg wanted to adapt it. He even brought Michael Crichton to help adapt the script, along with a Wisconsin native, David Cupp. And this is basically still one of his most iconic movies. And it's basically, I mean, when it came to the early 90s, the dinosaurs was basically the most popular thing for kids and teenagers.
Yeah, not to mention, like, the milestone that this ended up being in terms of
Visual
CGI.
effects.
Like, this was, like, Tron was basically the first movie to have CGI at all and be basically mostly done in CGI. Whereas Jurassic Park, well, Tron was more of an experiment. Jurassic Park was a commercialization and proof of concept of it can be done affordably, and because of that, post-production was insane.
But this wasn't the first time CGI was used. I mean, it was previously used by James Cameron in his films like The Abyss, Terminator 2.
Yeah, but it was Jurassic Park that really made the entire cinema world go, okay, CGI is actually at a mature point now.
And now we can use it to replace practical effects.
Yes.
Because it costs less.
Well, not for Jurassic Park it didn't. Not for that one. That one was expensive.
But when it came to Jurassic Park 2, I mean, the visual effects too, I mean, they had to use full-size animatronics for some of the dinosaurs.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, you have a full-size T-Rex, full-size Velociraptors, and it's just... I mean, I'm pretty sure all of you have seen Jurassic Park at least once.
Or at least one of its sequels. Many, many, many sequels.
Yes. I mean, even just last year, it had another sequel with Rebirth, and I know that didn't get a lot of love, even though it was a box office hit. But when it comes to Jurassic Park, it is still the go-to film for dinosaur movies.
Unless of course you're a purist and you want feathers.
Yes. Now, when it comes to this was made when paleontology, like I said, dinosaurs was basically the fad of the '90s. I mean, you had Steven Spielberg was an executive producer for the Don Bluth movie, The Land Before Time.
Not to mention, a few years later, in the early 2000s, there would be a TV show called Prehistoric Park that would see some commercial success too.
Yeah,
so
plus
dinosaurs would.
Plus, it was really popular on TV. I mean, you had the Jim Henson sitcom Dinosaurs. You had the preschool show Barney. I'm guilty of watching that. Don't judge me. But when it comes to dinosaurs, it was basically the popularity was at its peak.
In '93, yeah.
Yeah, and when it comes to Jurassic Park, it is still one of Spielberg's best.
It is.
And because when it comes to him I can tell when it came to the guys adapting this movie, they wanted to add more heart instead of... I mean, the movie is a thriller, but the book didn't have as much heart as this movie.
No, and not only that, well, just imagine for a moment, they were even considering for a little bit there, they were considering using stop motion for the dinosaurs, but they knew that computers were getting to a point where maybe it was possible, possibly, with the Silicon Graphics computers and other high-powered Unix computers at the time, that maybe it was viable with heavy asterisks to do it. And with a year plus with almost a year of post-production after they wrapped up filming.
Yeah, this film, even though it's supposed to be on an island set off of Costa Rica, this was actually filmed right in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And famously, it ended up, they actually had to pause production for a little bit because of a hurricane.
Well, not only that, but also remember that pre-production took so long, like the post-production took forever for editing, because he was also doing Schindler's List at the same time.
And it's just completely two different movies. I mean, you have a science fiction film with dinosaurs, but you have this hugely emotional film set during the Holocaust.
Yeah, it's said that this was it was his most emotionally draining time of his life was 1993. It paid off. It did. It paid off huge.
Yeah, because not only money-wise, but award-wise.
Oh yeah, but we'll get to that first. Let's talk about the cast.
Oh yes, we haven't gotten to that yet.
No, we haven't even talked about the cast. We've only talked about special effects. Cast. Go, Chris.
Well, we have the main characters. You have Sam Neill as the paleontologist, Alan Grant, his girlfriend, Ellie Sadler, played by Laura Dern. They are wanting to endorse this park that they believe is going to be mind-blowing. And then you have Jeff Goldblum as the chaos theorist, as the chaotician, Ian Malcolm, and he's there to make sure that everything is okay. Unfortunately, it turns out that everything goes wrong.
Yeah, and of course, Jeff Goldblum can only do a Jeff Goldblum, so we're just going to refer to him as Jeff Goldblum for the rest of this movie's review.
No offense to him. I mean, I loved him in Wicked.
But you're still Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to you have these guys that are out on this island, out in the middle of nowhere, and next thing you know, they're finding themselves with living, breathing clones of dinosaurs. And the guy behind it, Dr. John Hammond, played by the guy who actually beat Steven Spielberg for the Oscar for Best Director, Richard Attenborough. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes to Richard Attenborough, he's basically the heart of this movie because he's the guy, he has this dream, he wants to make it a reality, but it's basically becoming a nightmare. Mm-hmm. he's finding out that he's dealing with powers beyond his control.
And lack of power, not to mention a really inadequate security system with no backups.
And if anything, he's much better than he was in the book, because in the book he was just a scout. He was just a jerk.
You were gonna say scoundrel.
Yeah.
Both can apply.
Yeah. And then you have his grandkids, played by Ariana Richards and Joseph Mazzello. They are there to visit their grandpa and to have their minds blown by seeing living dinosaurs. Next thing you know, they find themselves literally face to face with a T-Rex and wanting to not be eaten by velociraptors.
Yeah, they wanted a midnight snack.
And then you have other characters too, like you have B.D. Wong as the guy who shows them the dinosaur eggs.
Mm-hmm.
He tells them that there's only a certain gender of dinosaurs that are made, female, but Dr. Malcolm believes that life finds a way. One of the most iconic quotes from the movie.
Yeah.
And then you have Samuel L. Jackson as the guy in charge of the lab. And this was just before he became a really big star. A year later, he would get an Oscar nomination for Pulp Fiction, and his popularity would skyrocket.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Wayne Knight, Newman.
Yes.
Hello, Newman. Eat your heart out, Jerry Seinfeld.
Well, this was like during when Seinfeld was still kind of at its peak.
Yeah. He plays Dennis Nedry. He is actually bribed by a rival company to steal embryos so they can make their own theme park.
Probably safer.
Unfortunately, his greed causes a domino effect that basically ruins the entire park.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have other characters too, like the hunter who's in charge of the raptors.
Mm-hmm.
He's Australian. He's always concerned about this one raptor who's basically the leader of the pack, and he wants to make sure that she doesn't cause any chaos. And of course there are characters that end up getting eaten by dinosaurs, and it's just so iconic.
About everything in this movie is iconic.
I mean, that whole
The Unix system, the Jeep.
the Jeeps, the Ford Explorers,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
plus that scene of the T-Rex getting out of its paddock and attacking the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that would basically. I mean, you're seeing kids literally seeing their worst nightmare come true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because dinosaurs are not cuddly. They're not friends. They think of you as food and nothing more, nothing less.
That's exactly how Weird Al did it in his song of Jurassic Park. Yeah. Thank you, Weird Al, for your awesome claymation music video based off this movie. You should have won the Grammy for it in my book. Now, when it comes to, plus you have the dinosaurs. I mean, the designs are just iconic.
They're really, really insane. Of course, they are a little dated because we've gotten more information about dinosaurs and found out that some of them have tufts of feathers. So the representation of the dinosaurs are a little dated. Like at the time we thought T-Rexes were the king of the jungle and would eat everything. Turned out they're omnivores.
Yeah,
and scavengers. So they
at first we thought they were monsters that would just, but it turns out that they
don't have claws. They have tiny little front hands. They can't do anything.
It's like, yeah.
So they're scavengers.
Yeah, but they also can have, but they're not, but, yeah. And come the sequel to this, The Lost World, you find out that they're not that they actually have a sense of connection with their families.
Yes.
Instead of being just, survival of the fittest.
Yeah, instead of just being mindless, I'm a monster, I'm gonna eat everything. No, they're
animals. I mean, these are living, breathing animals in a habitat, in their natural habitat, basically. A tropical
natural habitat.
I mean, when it comes to the puppetry, courtesy of Paul Tippett. And he is, I mean, you have, the animatronics are just incredible even to this day. And you can't even tell they're animatronics mostly because of the rain effects in some sequences. But when it comes to and you also can tell sometimes when it's animatronic and then when it's CG.
You can tell. It's hard to do, but you can tell.
Yeah, but still, it's...
I'd argue the CG in Jurassic Park is still just as good as some CG effects I see today.
It's up there with like early 90s CG, like Terminator 2. It's aged like fine wine.
It's aged very well. It's one of the very few It's one of the few CGI early movies that has aged as well as it has. Some movies it's aged kind of poorly, and then for that reason it adds a bit of a charm to it. It's like a cheese. You know, some cheeses are better aged than others. Sometimes they end up like a Limburger or a Blue, and sometimes it ends up like a really nice cheddar. But this is not the case with the Jurassic Park. It does age quite well. And if you were to go back and watch all the Jurassic Park movies in one go, yeah, it'd be a long time, but you would enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, think about all the sequels this movie got. I mean, Michael Crichton, right after this movie became popular, he wrote a sequel, The Lost World, and it ended up being adapted into a sequel that was directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yep.
Spoiler, we'll review it in a later episode this season.
Mm-hmm.
And next you know, there's Jurassic Park 3, which ended up not being as popular.
And then there was
and then Jurassic World, which became a juggernaut, it was one of the highest grossing films of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And it basically re-sparked the franchise. I mean, next you know, you have sequels, TV shows. I mean, the popularity of Jurassic Park still is strong to this day.
Every car show you go to, there's that one guy with a Jurassic Park Jeep, or the Explorer, or both even.
Or a T-shirt.
Or a T-shirt. Like every car show,
Yeah.
you'll find a classic Jeep with the livery on it.
Now, when it came to the Jurassic Park, the movie, it was a juggernaut at the box office. It not only became the highest-grossing film in 1993, but it ended up beating E.T. for being the highest-grossing film ever.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Spielberg lost to himself.
He lost himself a lot in 93.
Yeah.
93 was his year.
Yeah, but he only held the record for... When it came to the Jurassic Park, he only held the record for 4 years, because it was basically... It was literally stomped on by James Cameron's Titanic 4 years later. Next you know, it was beaten by James Cameron's Avatar, which still holds the record to this day.
Right.
But when it came to the Oscars, I mean, Jurassic Park got pretty lucky. It was nominated for 3 Oscars and it won all 3: Best Sound Editing, and especially Best Visual Effects. It actually beat Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas for that category.
Understandable.
But when it came to those Oscars too, I mean, it was the same year that Steven Spielberg. I mean, Schindler's List was a critical success as well. It ended up winning 7 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director for Steven Spielberg. And John Williams also won for Best Original Score for Schindler's List, although he should have gotten nominated for Jurassic Park 2. Because the theme for Jurassic Park is so iconic.
Again, very simple, very iconic. He's a man of few notes, and anything associated with, anything associated with that man is always going to have very few notes. No less than like 6.
And it stinks because that's the last Oscar he has won in his career so far. He hasn't won since. So it's been 30 years since he's won an Oscar.
God, Jurassic Park's 34 years old.
No, it'll be 33 this year.
Oh, the master films are going to be 34, 35 because the filming was done in like 92.
Yeah. And like I said, production was pretty crazy because right when they were almost done filming, a hurricane hit Hawaii. Hurricane Iniki. And I actually remember when I was in high school, on the Weather Channel, there was this series called Storm Stories. They had this whole episode about that hurricane hitting those guys right when it was happening. They even had some of the cast members do interviews.
I do have a question. This is an actual question. Between Schindler's List and Jurassic Park, that means that 10 Oscars were won?
Yes.
That's an insane year. That's why he's the greatest.
And Jurassic Park actually beat Schindler's List for best sound.
Yeah. Talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. And since then, Steven Spielberg's only won one other Oscar, Best Director for the World War II epic Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
He's only been nominated since. I mean, he was nominated for, let's see, Lincoln, the biopic with Daniel Day-Lewis, who won an Oscar.
I watched that one. That was a
Yeah.
good movie.
Let me see what else. West Side Story. That's
Also a good movie.
yes. Just a few years ago, he was nominated for a film called The Fablemans, which was sort of like inspired by his childhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but needless to say that '93 was basically the biggest year ever for Spielberg is literally an understatement. Again, check the description below. I'll put a YouTube video in there to kind of highlight it.
According to Wikipedia, if you have every movie he's made and the box office totals combined, all of his films have made him over $10 billion
Yeah.
in the global box office.
Yeah. Spielberg is the greatest. What can I say?
He's the GOAT of directors of our time.
He really is. Now, granted, is he doing as well as other directors nowadays? No, but he's still going at it, and he's still wowing audiences to this day.
But next winter he's going to be 80 years old, so Lord knows when we're going to lose him or John Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that recently there was on Disney Plus there was a TV documentary about John Williams, and I just loved it so much. It basically showcases his entire career.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not just for the Spielberg movies, but the Home Alone movies, the Harry Potter movies, all the other films that he's done in his career.
Yeah, yeah.
And when it comes to Spielberg too, I mean, his legacy still goes on to this day. I mean, and the funny thing is, he's only won one. He may have produced animated movies, but he's only actually directed one, The Adventures of Tintin in 2011.
Also a good movie.
And it actually earned him a Golden Globe for animated feature.
Well, with that being said, Chris, what are we going to give Jurassic Park?
I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5.
I'm right behind you at 4. I'm at 4 out of 5.
Yeah, because if anything, Jurassic Park is the pinnacle of dinosaur movies.
It's the gold standard. You think dinosaur movies, you think Jurassic Park. That's simple as that.
Yeah, before that, the only ones I can think of were like some Harryhausen movies that aren't that popular nowadays.
Maybe King Kong, or Godzilla, but those don't really count.
Yeah, that's true. But still, yeah. And like I said, the 90s were basically the peak of popularity for dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And they may be popular nowadays with little kids, but...
Oh no, I'll still watch Jurassic Park occasionally.
Yeah, that is true, but yeah. But still, when it comes to Steven Spielberg, who knows what he has next under his little finger.
Yeah, aside from that one teaser, who else will review from him?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, later this year he'll be doing a science fiction movie called Disclosure Day. Who knows how much love that's gonna get.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. So, that was our take of the legendary Steven Spielberg. For our next film, not only are we going to be looking at another one of his movies, but all 4 movies have something in common. They are based on books and plays that have actually won the highly coveted Pulitzer Prize. And I'm talking about movies from all the way back to the 40s.
No, 30s. We got back to the 30s.
Yeah. And this is going to be, I think this is going to be a really good episode.
It'll be a very interesting episode, and definitely a stark contrast to this one.
Yeah. Until then, I'm Chris Wyatt.
I'm Jayden Sparks.
And thanks for watching this episode of Chris's Classic Cinema. Hope to see you soon.
Bye.